YouTube? It's Jessie Lee, and call me #Bosslee, and I hope you love the video you're about to see. I'm pretty sure you will, because it's always content over here. I want to tell you about a couple other things, specifically one that you can also get some more value from, and all you need to do, and you can do it now, just pause this video, is go ahead and text YouTube to 844-277-9762. I'm going to be really upping the text game, and it's literally me texting you back. So if you want to have a more one-on-one conversation with me, enjoy the video, subscribe, comment below, and make sure you text YouTube again to 844-277-9762. Today's training, I want to talk to all of you. I adore John Maxwell as well. We're going to talk about the law of the rubber band, which is that growth stops when you lose the tension between where you are and where you could be. And it's interesting because I feel like most people, it's hard. Right? When things get tense, when things get hard, when things get uncomfortable, when things get, they stop being easy, when I don't know what you want to call it, when the universe, when the Lord, when whatever, when your friends test you, you think, what is going on? And it's this concept of that in your life, when you are stretched, it allows you to snap and then move forward. Makes sense? Like, we've all seen a rubber band. It does not fly in. Like, I wish I had a rubber band. That'd be really, this would be a good example of a time when I should have a visual aid. I don't have one. It's okay. But like a rubber band, if you go like this and you just stretch it a little bit, where's it gonna fly to? Right? It's like, it's not gonna go anywhere. There's no growth. It's when you have that tension, when you pull it back, when things are like, haven't you ever felt like there's almost like an elephant sitting on your chest in your business? You're like, I am so under pressure. What is going on in my life? And then as soon as the shoe drops, as soon as something is no longer stressing you out, as soon as you take that step in the next direction, it's when it snaps and you fly forward. It's when you break through the plateau. That's really what this law of the rubber band is like. And so I want you to try to find internal reasons to seek tension, to stretch yourself again, to seek times when you can get uncomfortable, to find ways to stretch outside of your comfort zone and do things that make you daring, do things that make you uncomfortable, do things that make you step outside of that comfort zone. Because when you tap into that internal struggle and battle that you have going on, it allows you to reach your potentials. So we really start getting into a conversation of, let's make sure that we are not falling short of our potential. Let's make sure that we are stretching ourselves, not so thin that you are like dying, okay? But stretch yourself, put yourself in uncomfortable growth situations so that you can grow. And we're gonna get into identifying some things like this for sure to help you with that. All right. And so this whole entire thing in general is that I feel like your whole life is going to be a series of stretching. Your whole life is going to make you stretch to get better. And that is because your life currently inside of your comfort zone is keeping you exactly what we were just talking about a little bit ago, which is we get stuck at that rank, we get stuck at that pay level, we keep attracting that same dollar amount every single month, and we're like, what is going on over here, right? And so instead of that, if we continually stretch not only, mentally, but emotionally, but financially, but physically, but all of these things, we start to stretch and we can start stepping outside of our comfort zone. And so when you look at your lives, I want you to think about the times when you've made the most progress, because you can talk to any successful person, whatever success is like to you, and everyone says the same thing. It's like a broken record. Everyone always says that the times that they grew the most was when they were in their darkest hours. How many of you have heard that before? Right? Everything got so ugly. They were under attack, or people were saying I used the example last night on training, but like my growth from my former company, like Voldemort, since we're on a Harry Potter thing, right? No, but like my growth from the former company to where I am now is because I had to get so torn down and stretch outside of my comfort zone in literally every way I can possibly think in order to propel forward. And so if you want to have those big moments of progress, you want to look back on them, you'll notice them in your worst times. Something I do a lot, and I don't know if this is a good takeaway for you or not, but something I've noticed I've done, and I noticed it when I started redoing my taxes. I redid my taxes from 2015 15, 16, 17, and 18, and I got a whole bunch more money back. Thank you, Jesus. All kinds of new tax write-offs, because let me tell you, your taxes are not small when you make the bigger money, okay? But I was so happy to find some write-offs, all right? But I will tell you, it's something, I don't know if I do it consciously, subconsciously, but when I'm in a really dark spot, does anybody else go and buy a ton of books? I don't know why I do this. Like, I go into, okay, me and Marsha are reading a lot of books. I love it. So, Luna does it too. Okay, cool. So shoes, you know, books. And I look at, that works, Katie. I was looking at my receipts, specifically on Amazon, which is where I get most of my books. And I was looking at it, and it's like I would go through, I can literally track the darkest stages of my life, the hardest times I ever went through, and it's like I would buy 6 books at a time. And I would go read all of them. And then I'd have this huge growth curve. Like every single time I go on like a book binge where I just buy and then I consume and I consume and I consume and I consume, and I'm stretching myself to learn and grow and expand myself. I have the hugest growth. So if you're in a storm right now, which I'm sure there's no way somebody's not on here, there's too many of us. If you're in a storm right now, I just want to tell you it's okay, because the law of the rubber band, that tension is going to get you where you need to go, And since there's a lot of people talking about not reading enough, I would just suggest, like, put it in your calendar. Like, literally put time in your day in the calendar to read. That might be weird, but we've had such a common theme over the last couple of months where we just need to slow down to speed up. That was, 4 months ago I did that first training on that, and I'm like, y'all, take a mental health day. Shut off the phone. People are like, Jessie Lee's telling me to shut off the phone. I'm like, shut off the phone. Get in a bathtub. Read a book. Go on a walk. Take a hike. Like, y'all, yes, my God, this idea of work until your hands are bleeding and your fingers are calloused on your computer is not healthy. It's okay to ask for help, right? And so I love that you went kayaking yesterday. That excites me. So, but I would just tell you, reading is like exercise for the brain. You realize that, right? I mean, y'all are looking very hot. Everyone is slim and trim and gorgeous. Even if you weren't, you're still gorgeous, right? And I'm just telling you, it's like actual exercise for your brain, the way your brain has to function, and it's different on Audible. I know some of you really love Audible. I still like podcasts and stuff. You activate a different part of your brain when you're actually physically reading. It's totally different because it's so present. So I want you to start thinking about that a little bit and maybe setting those alarms in your day to do that, or maybe every night you start calming down with a book, right? Really, really important stuff. And I can teach you, I kind of talked about it last week, but I can teach you other ways to take more effective notes as well. I don't know what training that was on, but something last week, I think I talked about effective note taking. So I don't know, my whole life is running together, okay? All right. So at any rate, super important to make sure you are focused on that stretch. I think that this is important in whatever you're trying to do, okay? And so I'm going to use the example of Amanda or Kayla or Brittany. I've asked them to train on international Zooms. Okay? And I know some of you have heard me say this before, but I remember the first time that I was translated. It was actually to the Chinese team. And as soon as they started translating my words in Chinese, some of you know this, I literally start crying. I could not hold it together. It was like the coolest thing that I was like, oh my God. They're like, this training is kind of worthless. She's just crying the whole time. I'm like, you know what? I don't care. I don't even care. All right. But I will tell you, the process is uncomfortable. It's actually even kind of a little embarrassing at first because you say too much. You think that you can say all the stuff I've said so far and that they're going to remember it and then they're going to translate it perfectly in Chinese or Italian or Spanish or German. It's going to be a nerd. They have no idea what you're saying. Okay? And it's funny to me because like I get on these calls, Ryan Underwood, who I love so much, is the worst. Okay, he's so bad. He is so bad. He will get on these calls and he's like, okay, I'll keep it short. So guys, what's going on today? So here's what's going on. La, 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 la. And then Luke is like, shorter sentences, please. But I remember that first time and I remember how long it took me to to get better. And I remember how much it stretched me, especially because of my brain. Like the way my brain functions, I am so just go, 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 and I'm thinking of so many things at once. You can't do it when you're being translated. I'm on stage with Sasha next to me in Germany translating me, and it's like I get 2 sentences, and then he's got to go, and I got to remember exactly what I said, and then I'm gonna do okay, and it's so like I was nervous, I was so scared to do it. But I'm telling you, look at the way the team has expanded globally. Now, when I translate with people, it's really cool because I forget who said it. I don't remember. It might have been Mexicans. It might have been Germans. It might have been Italians. Who knows? But somebody said, I don't understand. I have no problem translating Jessie Lee. I cannot translate this doctor. I was like, oh, man. The way that me stretching Law of Rubber Band has propelled us forward internationally, it's allowed so many different opportunities for me. More and more and more people show up on those international Zooms because they know that I won't run them over like a train, right? More and more people are able to be trusted with me as their sponsor when English is not their first language, because I'll slow down before I speed up. And I've had these crazy opportunities now because I stole Brittany Anderson's idea and I'm doing the trainings for teams, right? Which is bananas, holy smokes. But I did a training, how many languages was I translating into at a time?
5.
So I did this one training. I was being translated into 5 simultaneous languages at a time for 4,000 Europeans a couple weeks ago. What? But it's because they're comfortable with how I translate. They're comfortable with how I train internationally. They're comfortable with my pattern language. Martina! Hey, gorgeous! Oh! Like, everyone say hi to Luca's girlfriend. They've been together for over 7 years. She is perfect in every way. Okay. So I say that because how are you going to expand? Her name's Martina, by the way. Like, you can think of different ways where you can expand your skill sets, and it will eventually propel you forward even when you don't notice that. And for those of us who are strong communicators, which quite frankly, that's most of us, I would say, if not all of us, we're strong communicators. You don't get to champ by being a bad communicator, right? You certainly don't, right? Yeah, for sure. So thank you, David. I appreciate that. Sometimes I feel like it might be easier to think, no, I can't learn that. I don't know another language. Kayla Hahn. Kayla goes, oh, I can't do that training. I don't speak Spanish. I love you so much. I'm like, Kayla, you don't need to speak Spanish. What? I'm like, it's translated. I don't know how to do that. She could have literally said, nope, I don't see myself expanding internationally. And so sometimes maybe you need to have a person with some vision too, who's like, well, sister, I see you expanding internationally. Okay, like, let's go. Let's start building the skill set. And by the way, I'd love to expose more of you to those teams. They are so gorgeous. Their energy is unbelievable. And the way they operate, like I know y'all heard on Tommy's Pro Champ Zoom, but they operate as one empire. It's not I mean, whatever. It's so cool. It's so cool, and I'm obsessed. So anyway, look at these things. I just use language as an example, but look at these things in your life right now that are stretching you as an opportunity to stretch and grow. It'll give you a greater impact, okay? And it's also going to allow you to connect with people in other cultures, which I think is so important. Like the way you speak to Germans and the way you speak to Italians is not only two different languages like German and Italian, it's 2 completely different cultures. You start to learn the different nuances between all of them only by experiencing it. And I promise it's uncomfortable. It is really uncomfortable when you spend 2 weeks in Germany with Sasha, Anna, Andreas, the whole crew, and they are prompt and they are on time and they are early morning and they whoop you like a dog. Okay? I mean, I love you, but seriously, wow. Okay? Like, that's how Germany works. It is very, 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 very disciplined. And then Lucone picks me up from the airport with okay, hey, it's 2 a.m. or so. It was really late, I don't know. And he's like, we're gonna go to dinner right now. I'm like, okie dokie, I'm rebooting, but let's go. And they're just, they'll get here when they get here. And then Tommy meets us and Rafi meets us and it's really, really late. I'm like, oh, Italy's different. Italy stretches you, you start to learn. And it's in those moments when you're uncomfortable that you grow. It's in those moments that you truly grow. And so, I really think that we're all like this anyway, but this is about being focused on building a legacy, okay? This is about being focused on building a legacy. Understand when opportunities are presenting themselves, right? See when things are hard and difficult for you and how it's stretching you, right? I'll just use Marsha because of course she's got the book example, but it was an opportunity for her to stretch herself. She seized the opportunity. She accepted the challenge. It wasn't easy for her, and I know she's glad she did. She was a little worried about missing Pro Champ and not doing a lot of stage 1 activity and kind of having to go for 2-3 weeks into management mode. But it was a challenge that I know she feels glad she did. I know she does. And if she had entered into a season of, no, I'm just going to stay comfortable. I'm going to let Lindy do all the things, Kelsey do all the things. I'm just going to ride this out and I'm not going to fulfill my heart. Where would she be? She's fulfilled, right? So do things that are fulfilling you and it's going to cause you to stretch yourself as well. Now, here's the facts of the matter. I know this is a leadership Zoom and that's why I want to talk about this, but few people want to stretch, right? I know y'all want to, but few people want to stretch. How many people do you know? I mean, I hate to say this, but this is a very real thing, obviously. How many people do you know right now who do not want to go back to work, not because they're scared, but because they're literally getting a check from the government? There's a lot of nodding going on. Yeah, it's weird. I own this brick and mortar store now, so I didn't even notice it until I'm dealing with it now. Because we're getting text messages that are like, we will come back to work on the 16th, not the 8th, because we get an unemployment check on the 16th. I'm like, you can make more money. Yeah, but if I stay at home, then I know how. This is a real thing. This is a real thing. Most people, I mean, my whole screen was nodding in unison when I said it, so I know I'm not alone here, okay? This is a real thing because people don't like to be stretched. People don't like conflict. People don't like having to have uncomfortable conversations. People avoid this kind of stuff at all costs, right? People avoid. And so all the time I see this, it's so honest and so true, but I know it doesn't make sense to people like us. And so most people only use a small fraction of their ability and rarely strive to reach their full potential. How many of you agree with this? I mean, you can think of a million reasons. I don't have to give you anything. There's no tension to grow in their lives, and there's no or little desire to stretch. Life is good. I'm comfortable. I can take my family on a vacation once a year. I just got to save up for the year. It's not that bad. Well, it's not that bad, but it's not that good. There's more to life than that. How many of you like driving a free car? I don't know. Probably everyone with a free car. Okay, that's a lot better. Little smart Sydney Smith over there. I had a conversation with her yesterday. That's why I got all this Sydney stuff in my head right now. But she's like, I'm refinancing my vehicle because you told me that we should refinance our vehicles in quarantine time because the economy's changing. Her thing went down over $300 a month for her car payment. Now she gets to pocket an extra $300. Oh, that's what happens when you listen to Jessie Lee. Sheesh Louise. Because she's still getting paid the same amount of money by the company. Shut up. Right? There's all these little opportunities we have to grow and expand, and sometimes we just don't even notice it. Right? Or sometimes it just makes us uncomfortable to do it. Using the example of books again, because I said who reads, I know you know this, but a third of high school graduates never read another book for the rest of their lives, and 42% of college graduates never read a book after college. What? 32% of the US population has never been in a bookstore. How is that possible? Oh my God, that's unbelievable, because it's uncomfortable. It's more comfortable to sit on a couch and not stretch your limits. It is more comfortable to settle for an average life. I know you don't want average lives, right? Average, right? Average is, honestly, it should be a crime. And this is Grant Cardone, to be honest, but he said something and it smacked me between the eyes in his book, Be Obsessed or Be Average. But he said, being average is the most disgusting, lazy cop-out anybody can have. If you look at something and you look at the average of something, what a disservice to the world if you're average. Because in order to get average, you're taking most people, which is most terribly lazy, won't stretch, won't do anything people, the worst of the worst, averaging them with what we call the top 1% everybody talks about, right? right? So the 1%ers, right? And you're averaging, you're taking everybody else and you're finding the average. So the average between absolutely horrible, terrible, and 1%, that's the average? That's a nasty word that we should scrape off of our tongues. Nobody should ever want to be average. It's not okay to be average. You're not born to be average. God doesn't make junk, yet some people like to show up like he does. I don't understand that, right? I don't mean to get all religious on you, but I don't get it. Average is a lazy cop-out, right? It's lacking the guts to take a step forward in your life. It's truly a crime against yourself and nobody else. Because if you're leading and living an uncomfortable average life, the only person who can change anything is yourself, and that's where you have to stretch. I don't want anyone, because I cannot stand it, to settle for average. It doesn't make sense to me. Nobody admires average. Nobody says, oh, let's get on Leanne's Champ Zoom. She's average. Let's go celebrate her and her mediocrity. No! Oh my God! Like, I still remember, I think I'll always remember Leanne's Champ Zoom because I had to do it with my eyes closed. I was getting my lashes done. You had to break like in the middle of the day when I was doing appointments. It's fine. Like, we celebrate on those Zooms because we're celebrating excellence. We're not celebrating mediocrity. Luna's Pro Champ 8 Zoom went for 3 hours. That's longer than a movie. That's a long time. 3 hours because nobody was celebrating mediocrity. They were celebrating excellence. They were celebrating somebody who had to stretch themselves so many times to propel themselves forward into their goals. 3 hours, right? Be aware of the gap that stands between you and your potential and stretch to learn so that you can propel forward to grow. The next thing, and this is kind of a long average, but people settle for this status quo, right? Longer than the Titanic. It was longer than the Titanic. And we knew what the ending was, just like the Titanic, and we still stayed. Oh, Lord, I love it, okay? Settling, it makes you dissatisfied. I know you feel that. I know y'all. I feel you. I'm too empathic not to feel all y'all anyway. I'm too connected. I can't help it. I'm all emotional. I'm over here crying all morning long because Italy's making me mad. Not our Italians. Okay? Like I'm upset because they're upset. I mentioned something about being upset and then Alberto's telling me he's crying all morning. I'm like, yeah, I know. You've affected me all morning. I can feel it from across the whole world. You're killing me. I'm dying over here. So, yeah, like it's been like when I say people are going crazy in quarantine, I'm referring to Italians, okay? Holy smokes, I think it's because it started there, but oh geez, Lucone, get your people together. Holy smokes, it's nuts. But settling for this status quo, you're gonna be dissatisfied. I promise it, and you know it. It's like if we get so, you're not comfortable at Champ, I know you're not, right? It's comfortable because you no longer are struggling, but I know it's not what you want. It's not, you don't need to hit 7, 8, 9, 10 legend for me. It's because there's something inside of us that we know in our hearts is not satisfying. It's when we say, it's okay, I'm gonna take a back seat for a little bit. It's okay, I'm gonna do my own thing. It's okay. I'm just gonna take there's like seasons of our lives for sure, but hit the levels of your life that you'll feel satisfied where you can step away from stuff, where you can give yourself that grace. And it's not to say don't take a day off, because I tell you I'll take days off all the time. I'm just saying I see some people taking months off and then they wonder why they come back to their business and then they're even more upset, right? We just need to think logically about this. And so don't settle for that status quo and then wonder why our lives aren't going the way that we want them to. Right? We need to realize that we will only reach our potential if we have the courage to push ourselves outside of that comfort zone. That's how this works. That stretch. And stretching always starts from the inside out. Always. It goes back to character versus reputation. You have to stretch yourself from the inside. You have to make the decision in your character to decide you're going to take yourself to that next level, because your circumstances, they might not be because of you in your life, but you have to be the person who decides to stretch yourself out of the situation. You have to be the person who puts your foot down and says no more, right? You have to. And most people have these dreams. I know you all have dreams, and I'm not saying dreams of a rank. I'm saying you have dreams that you want to achieve because of this business, and you want to use this business as the vehicle for that. And my God, I'm obsessed. I love that. I always say, and you guys have heard me say it a million times before, but it's like, I just want everybody to, if they ever leave the team, that's fine. I want you to know, like, you're leaving, like, leave as a better person, right? Develop yourself here, do more for yourself here, change your life here so you can step forward into yourself and your own unique power. But with that dream, it's like for most people, it's almost just on the tip of their tongue, and they don't take the opportunity to step forward and achieve their dreams. Like, what is stopping you? Right? What is actually stopping you from doing it? What is making it so that you don't take that step forward? And you need to identify that, because then you have to change. And that's the next step of this is stretching is always going to require change. It sucks. Like, how many of you have outgrown people, outgrown family members, outgrown friends, outgrown relationships, outgrown whatever? We all have. Every single one of us, right? That's the hardest part of change. Is when you look back on it, it's like you've grown so much and you're like, I did not mean to blow my friends away in the dust. Anyone been there? And it's like the most emotional thing that ever happened to you? Yeah, I know. It sucks, right? It sucks. But who decided to stretch? Oh, I'm sorry, Leanne. Who decided to, we love you. I love you. I can speak for myself. Can't speak for everyone else. I love you. I don't know if anybody else does, but I do. Okay? Jenny says she does. She's right here. She wants to let you know she loves you. Stretching is always going to require change. And these are really tough changes a lot of time, especially as you start to really grow, like when you stretch really far and you make huge leaps of growth in your life. That is uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable for you. It is uncomfortable for other people, but it is worth the discomfort, because monotony is the awful, awful reward of being careful. Y'all do not want boring lives. I know you too well. Okay? You do not want boring lives. You do not want to sit on a porch in like a house you don't even like when you're 75 years old on a rocking chair and have no memories to talk about because you never got to travel. You never got the fancy car. You never got the fancy whatever it is you like. You never got to take your kids wherever. Your kids didn't get to go to the school you wanted them to. No. That's what happens when you don't change. And too many of us hold on to those people, those relationships, those things that hold us in our place, and we do not move forward. And some of you, this is like the hardest realization of your life. And I can't tell you it necessarily ever gets easy, right? Especially with the big bucket of mush balls we have on this Zoom. No, I don't think so. I don't think it gets any easier. But that's just the reality of life, is that monotony is the awful reward of the careful. And so I'm not saying make crazy, risky, psychotic decisions, but I am telling you, give yourself the grace to grow. Give yourself permission to grow. Give yourself permission to innovate. Give yourself permission to have progress. Give yourself permission to take yourself to that next level, whether people want to come with you or not. Because there are plenty of people who want to come with you. I don't remember what podcast it was on. I heard it years ago. Somebody said something like, I don't like when people say that it's lonely at the top. It's not lonely at the top. It's just a different group of people. Like, there are plenty of people, whatever top is for you, waiting for you to step into your own power. But if you won't step into that and you won't make the courage to change, you're going to constantly be stuck in that, And there's a time and a place. I'm not telling you to break up with all your friends and your relationships and whatever else. But if somebody is refusing to grow and somebody's being more toxic and negative than helping you and achieving with you and pushing you and growing with you, be a leader enough to know when you need to stretch yourself and when you need to let go. Because it's never too late to be what you might have been. That's a George Eliot quote. That's not a Jessie Lee quote either. All right, but it's never too late to be what you might have been. And the cool thing about stretching is that it sets you apart from everyone. Because like I said a couple minutes ago, it's like nobody wants to stretch. Nobody wants to take that next step. Nobody wants to get uncomfortable. I shouldn't say nobody, that's globalizing, okay? But especially, like I just said, it's driving me crazy, Americans in particular, who are so comfortable with this mediocre life. I'm an employer now. This is crazy. They're so happy with their unemployment. I don't understand it. I know you don't like it, though. I know you don't like driving the car you didn't actually want, Sydney. Here, I'll attack you. There you go. She said attack. Oh, never mind. All right, let me throw one in for you. Okay? She got a car she didn't even like. She didn't want the stupid Jeep. She didn't. She got it. She settled. right? How many of you haven't even gotten the car yet because it makes you uncomfortable to even think about? Yeah, I know. Okay, how many of you are in the car you don't like? You got the Jeep that's trying to kill you, Shauna. Shauna and Matt, you've got the murderous Jeep, I swear. What the heck is wrong with that thing? Like, I think about Bree. She got the Denali she didn't want. She went back and she's like, screw this. No, I am not only getting the new Denali, I am putting new shoes on this sucker, and I'm upgrading my tires. Screw this. I'm done with this. Okay? Stretch yourself. Most people are not willing to stretch themselves. I think a lot of this is because we have, most of us grew up in a generation where literally everybody's getting trophies, you know? And I don't blame our generation for that. I actually blame our parents' generation. Like, it's not millennials' fault. It's those other people, okay? It's not our fault. You're the one who bought us all trophies. So, you know what? If you didn't want us, what did you say? What did Marsha say? I missed something. Oh, I like it, Marsha. Yes, I love it. Yeah, 4 millionth place, you get a trophy. And I think that caused mediocrity because people are not willing to stretch, right? People are very comfortable in that lifestyle. So I think instead of that being your lifestyle, why don't we make stretching our lifestyle? Why don't we make getting uncomfortable our lifestyle? Why don't we make putting the schedule together that we hate our lifestyle? Why don't we really start living and allowing ourselves to be better tomorrow than we are today? And that's going to take a lot of stretching, right? The greatest enemy of tomorrow's success is today's success, right? We get so used to talking about our success we have right now, we stop working towards tomorrow's success. And there are so many more success stories sitting on this Zoom right now. We are only getting started. And I will tell you that stretching and that ability to take yourself to that next level and get uncomfortable, that's when that real significance starts, right? That's when you can start changing people's lives. That's when you can step into that power. That is the gap, the difference between good and great. And every single one of you, if you want to close that gap, it's going to take you willing to stretch. It's taking you from taking the mindset of, okay, I want to go to, I want to get to rank 6 1-star and being like, no, I don't really want that. And claiming what you really want and then getting after it. So get after these things in your life. Decide what it is that you want and just think about what significant action you could take if you were sure that you would achieve your goals. What would you stretch in if you knew you could not fail? What would you do if the only option was to succeed? And with that, I want you just to dream big and set whatever those things are for your lifetime goals, set your small goals, your big goals, your lifetime goals, but make sure you continue to dream, because if you're not dreaming and you're not stretching, you're not contracting that rubber band and you're not allowing yourself to fly forward.